What's up guys, Original Star Wars fan here, back at it again with another Star Wars related video. So today I want to do a video on my top 10 favorite Star Wars characters. This was kind of a hard to put together list since there are so many great characters in the Star Wars universe, but you know, this is what I came to on my personal top 10. Obviously it might not fit your guys' categories, might disappoint you a little bit, but you know, everybody views Star Wars slightly differently, and everyone has their own personal opinions. So, hope all is doing well, and let's get started. So at number 10 here, I have Mace Windu. I had to include him in the top 10. I love Mace Windu. I love Samuel L. Jackson's portrayal of Mace Windu, and I also love Mace Windu in the Clone Wars. He's a very strong character who tampers with the dark side a little bit, which I find to be very interesting. He's got a really cool fighting style, and just overall a very powerful and like just a great and powerful Jedi. You know, he's a really cool character, and I've liked him for a very long time. He has his flaws like every other person does, but you know, I had to include him on the top 10 list, and he's definitely an easy choice for that. Next up is number 9, Chewbacca. Love Chewbacca. Chewbacca's always been there from the beginning with Star Wars, a great loyal character. I have no flaws with Chewbacca. I've never not liked him, and he's just kind of always there, you know. Doesn't say much, has his little things here and there that is always like interpreted by other characters, but just a happy, fun-loving character who seems to be very just loyal to the cause, and it's cool to see that, especially in today's times. But he was an easy pick for number 9, no doubt. I love Chewbacca, and I know everyone else does, so I don't think anyone's mad at this positioning there. Number 8, Princess Leia. So I knew I had to include Princess Leia on this list somewhere. It was either going to be at number 7 or number 8, and I ended up going with number 8. She's a strong, fun-loving character, super witty, smart, cunning, always kind of knows what to do in the very like tough, desperate situations, and she becomes the leader of the rebels, which is also super cool. I love Carrie Fisher, rest in peace, and I just love Leia's character basically from the beginning. She's every young guy's first crush on Star Wars, and just a fun, great character overall. Always has her comebacks, just very strong, and fits number 8 for me. It was sort of a tough choice, but I'm still kind of comfortable with her in the number 8 spot, and basically just a super iconic character. Yeah. So going into number 7, we have Luke Skywalker. Now, Luke Skywalker is the most iconic character in Star Wars, I would say. I loved being able to watch him kind of grow old, being a 19-year-old, I think it was, in the very first Star Wars movie, and then seeing him in the new prequel trilogies. His character has aged over a very long time. He was super relatable, and he was like my favorite character for a little while when I was younger too. And I just liked seeing him progress. Basically, you get to see this young kid who has gone through so much hardship, and all of a sudden, he has all these temptations, he's going through a lot, but he still doesn't falter, and he stays true to the Jedi and true to the light side, and doesn't go to the dark side even when his father's mentor tries to bring him over. He's just a major beacon of hope, just a really cool character, and he kind of brings the whole Star Wars universe together. So that's kind of why I had to put him above Leia. Plus, I love Luke Skywalker. He becomes like one of the most powerful characters in some of the comics, and it's really cool, really fun, and it's just iconic. He's a big part of Star Wars. Going in number 6, we have R2-D2. Everyone loves R2. I love R2. Fun character. Happy to see him on screen. He helps out the good guys, and he just plays like a very integral part to Star Wars, so I knew I couldn't not include him on the list. And I just like how much joy and happiness and fun R2 brings to the big screen, and being able to see him again in The Force Awakens and whatnot, when you get that scene when he kind of starts to wake up when they're searching for Luke, it just brought back a lot of nostalgia and just a lot of great feelings about Star Wars. So I decided to throw him at number 6 on the list. Some of you might not agree with that, but hey, this is my list. So let's go into number 5 with Yoda. love Yoda. Always loved Yoda, even when he was in his puppet form. That style of Yoda was just like crazed, funny, all over the place. And then his, I feel like, more wiser form in episodes 2 and 3. I really liked episode 3 Yoda. Very wise, great fighting skills, super incredible with the Force, just a very powerful overall character. Kind of always knew the best advice to give, but wasn't too like certain. Like, you know, he knew a lot, but he also knew that he was flawed, and he understood that, and he tried to give advice in ways that people might understand and have to think about, and would help them progress further into the like progression of being a Jedi and being a better person. You know, he was a character that did his best, and always just like super cool to see something so different be so like badass, I would say, basically. So yeah, I knew I had to throw him in my top 5, and I mean, from a kid I've always loved Yoda, so I have no problem with putting him at number 5 on the list. Number 4, Obi-Wan Kenobi. Love Ewan McGregor, love Obi-Wan. Basically from the first time I saw him on the screen in Phantom Menace, I've loved Obi-Wan's character, and I loved Ewan McGregor playing him. Super cool, super smart and powerful as a Jedi for being so young, also so wise. A really good mentor and a really good father figure and a brother figure for Anakin over the years. I was just like happy, yet stern, like happy and fun-loving and just cool, but also pretty stern and respected and respectable of a character. He was very good with his fighting style, super defensive, yet he was able to take out the likes of General Grievous and Darth Maul. He was able to channel his inner passion and whatnot, and he was a character that went through so much like pain, but he never faltered. Like, he lost his master, his loved one, Anakin, and then he sacrificed himself for Luke to progress further on into becoming a better Jedi. He was the epitome of what it meant to be a Jedi and what it meant to be on the light side. So I loved his character. Some of you might not agree with him being at number 4, but personally for me, and for my childhood and for my love for Star Wars, he's number 4 on my list, which takes me to number 3, Boba Fett. Now, for a long time, Boba Fett was one of my favorite characters. You just don't get enough of him on the big screen. You get him a little bit here and there, and I'm hoping maybe some more in The Mandalorian he pops up. And then you get some comics about him and whatnot. I love his character, super like mysterious, and he's kind of what I envisioned that The Mandalorian would be. So it's really cool. I love bounty hunters, and I love his like outfit and whatnot. He has a tragic backstory. I mean, I even have a Boba Fett tattoo as well. So yeah, like I said, he was one of my favorite characters for the longest time. But he's fallen a little bit further back on the list, just purely because we haven't gotten enough screen time with him. That's all. I mean, if we get more screen time with him and they can take some time to build his character a little bit more than it already has through like the Clone Wars and some comics and stuff like that and movies, then he might jump back up a little bit higher. But I love Boba Fett. I've always loved Boba Fett, and he's definitely one of my first top favorite Star Wars characters because he's just so cool. Number 2, this was a tough one. My number 1 and number 2 were very tough, but I had to go with Anakin Skywalker at number 2. So I love Hayden Christensen as an actor and as a person, and I love Anakin Skywalker. Anakin was my favorite character for the longest time, because I grew up on the prequels, and I got to watch this all go down in theaters, just like the tragedy of Anakin. I think Hayden did a really good job portraying the character. You have so many iconic scenes, especially the fight between him and Obi-Wan. Just like the tragedy of his character, such a good fighter, so like loving and lighthearted, but like has that darkness within, which I feel like a lot of people can relate to. He just has a lot of struggle, and he fell weak to it, but I still enjoy his character. You get to see him grow over the prequel movies and see what he turns into and the strength and whatnot, and if maybe he just had a little bit better guidance and a little bit less arrogance, like the Jedi he could have become, because like he did have his loving side with Padme and some of the loving side with ObiWan and the loyalty. It's just he was pushed in too many different directions, so I could see why he broke. But yeah, I mean, I hope maybe further in somewhere in the Star Wars franchise we get more Hayden Christensen. I doubt it, but you never know. I would love to see Anakin come back in some way. When we got the remastered Return of the Jedi version where his Force Ghost was in it, that was so cool. I do wish they would have put the Ewan McGregor Obi-Wan in there as well, but it was really cool to see this. And he was a easy pick for top 2 100%, just because I love Anakin as a character. But that leads me to number 1. So basically the only good thing coming out of the sequel trilogies was Kylo Ren / Ben Solo. Now, Force Awakens, I didn't really like Kylo Ren. Going into The Last Jedi, his character started growing on me, and then we had The Rise of Skywalker, which he was the only good part of the entire sequel trilogy, basically. Kylo Ren's character started to progress further and further, and he had a really good character arc. You could see his maturity levels changing, him struggling with dark to light. Adam Driver is a phenomenal actor. Just a lot of cool stuff going on. I liked his lightsaber design. Initially I was kind of confused by it and unsure, but the more I looked into it, and then the more I looked into his fighting style, and just basically everything that his character represented made me fall in love with it more and more. And then in The Rise of Skywalker, when we got to see him change into Ben Solo and become that character, which I'm using them as a joint character, that is what really pushed it over the line for me, because he was so cool. He was able to fight off the dark side and become who he's truly meant to be. And he was so powerful. He had great fighting style, super strong with the Force, Skywalker / Solo blood. It was hard not to like his character, especially as Ben Solo. And he had a tragic kind of like betrayal, and you could see why he would fall to the dark side, but it was also cool seeing him being able to change. And there's kind of like like you go too far, like just past the point of return, and he almost hit that, and then he was able to work his way back to the light. I don't think his character needed to die at all. He could have lived 100%. I think that was extremely unnecessary, but that's the way they wanted to end his arc, so that's how it be. He's cool in some of his comics. There's like the Kylo Ren comics and the Ben Solo stuff. It goes into how he became a part of the Knights of Ren thing, and it just goes into more detail and all that. In his lightsaber, how he built his lightsaber. It's just a very interesting he's a very interesting character, played by a very good actor, and there's a lot of detail that we didn't get to see in the movies that really went into the whole thing, so that also interests me more. And I think that probably is another reason I pushed him so much higher on the list, is because I did my own research on the side about his character. So some of you might not be happy with him being number 1, but like I said, this is my list. These are the characters I love, and no matter who I put on here and didn't add on here, we're all Star Wars fans. We all love Star Wars, and each person is allowed their own opinion and allowed to like the characters they like for the reasons they like. So hope y'all enjoyed. As always, like, comment, subscribe. Hope y'all are doing well. I know times are weird out there, so I'm trying to put up content. Stay safe, and as always, may the Force be with you.